Good evening, students. Today we are going to learn organizational appraisal. The contents of the organizational appraisal are introduction, resources, synergy, what is competence, what is organizational capability, what are the methods and techniques used for organizational appraisal, VRIO framework, balanced scorecard, structuring organizational appraisal, strategic advantage profile. Let us start. The dynamics of the internal environment is understood in terms of complex interplay of organizational resources and behavior, strengths and weaknesses, synergistic effects, and the competencies of the organization. The resources possessed by an organization are basically the physical, human, organizational resources. Organizational behavior is the manifestation of the various forces and influences operating in the internal environment of an organization that create the ability for or place constraints on the usage of resources. The strength is the inherent capability which an organization can use to gain strategic advantage, while weaknesses is an inherent limitation or constraint which creates a strategic disadvantage for the organization. So the organization must know their strengths and weaknesses. They must know what their resources are. Strengths and weaknesses basically combine to produce a synergistic effect, creating competencies that are special qualities that make organizations withstand pressure of competition in the marketplace. Here you could see the resources the organization is going to, whatever the resources the organization is going to have in terms of man, material, money, machine, and the behavior is covered basically the quality environment, the climate, the basic management philosophy and identity of the organization. Both resources and behavior, it creates competence, and competence basically creates the capability. The organizational capability is the inherent capacity or potential of the organization to use its strengths and overcome its weaknesses in order to exploit the opportunities and face the threats in the external environment. So strategists are primarily interested in organizational capability. There are so many organizational capability factors. Organizational capability factors are the strategic strengths and weaknesses present in the different functional areas in the organization. Let us discuss one by one. First of all, we are going to discuss in production what type of strengths and what type of weaknesses. The organization could have a lower cost of production, they could have a low break-even point or effective inventory control system, or they could have weaknesses like high cost of production or defective allocation, ineffective inventory control system. In marketing functional area, the company could have the strength of high market share, it could be effective and efficient distribution channel, and when we talk about weaknesses in marketing area, they could be poor, they could have poor company image, or they might be having low market share, or they might be having ineffective distribution channel. Now in finance functional area, the companies could have a strength of low capital cost, they could have a sound capital structure, or might be efficient accounting system and procedure. And weaknesses, they could be bad in financial planning, they could have ineffective accounting system or high capital cost, etc. The companies must know all these strengths and weaknesses in all the functional areas, so that they could know their competencies, so that they could know their capabilities. There are so many methods and techniques used for organizational appraisal. Uh, the VRIO framework, value chain analysis, quantitative analysis, qualitative analysis. Here we have comparative analysis, historical, industry, benchmarking. Here we have comprehensive key factor rating, business intelligence system, and balanced scorecard. Let us learn one by one. VRIO framework. A resource is an asset, skill, competency, or knowledge controlled by the organization. A resource is a strength if it provides competitive advantage. Might be the company is having economies of scale, they have achieved economies of scale, or might be they are going to have a very strong brand. As for example, HUL is having so many brands which are having a very good image, and the pharmaceutical companies are having brand patents. As for example, Pfizer company, it's an American pharmaceutical company having more than 3,000 patents. So these are the resources which could be used as a strength and which provides the competitive advantage. Basically, what is VRIO? VRIO means valuable, rare, inimitable, organized for use. Valuable means ability to generate an amicable relationship with, as for example, with government, high quality after sale services. Rare means as for example, exclusive location, if some retail store is having exclusive location. Inimitable means nobody could copy, as for example, favorable corporate image, as for example the Tata company is having favorable image in Indians as well as abroad too. Organized for usage, organized capabilities possessed by the firm through organizational structure, business processes, control system, or reward system. The company should identify their VRIO. Basically, they have to identify their resources, they have to combine their strengths into capabilities, and then they have to select the appropriate strategy. If the company is going to know the valuable, the rare, the inimitable, and organized resources, then they could select the best strategies. Next is the concept of value chain approach. In value chain approach, it is a interlinked value creating activities performed called value chain, starting from the first activity of recruiting resources from the suppliers to the end, that is to provide the products and services in the hand of customers. So basically, Porter identified 9 strategic relevant activities, starting from procuring the raw material to the providing finished goods to the customers. These are nine. These are 9 strategically relevant activities. Basically, Porter divided into 2 parts: support activities and primary activities. Primary activities consist of inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, services, and support activities consist of management and administrative services, human resource management, technology development, procurement, and resources. Michael E. Porter, what he is going to say? He is going to say that if the companies are basically, the value chain analysis is a useful method for organizational appraisal, as it helps in providing clarity about the area where the strengths and weaknesses of the organization reside. Here in 9 activities, company could find out where they are going to have strength and where they are going to have weakness. If they are going to have strength in some areas, then they could manage some margin, then they could manage the profit, or we could say that they could achieve competitive advantage. This is the competitive advantage. Competitive advantage means the profit margin that an organization can earn. It depends on how effective these 9 strategically relevant activities in which activity the company is efficient. If they know it very well, then they could generate margin, profit margin, and then they could generate strategies in the market. These are the details of inbound logistics and all these. These are detail of the support activities, right? And this is Porter's value chain system. You could see that these value chains are going to overlap. As for example, this is for supplier. The supplier's outbound logistic is the firm's. This is the company. This is the supplier, right? And this is going to basically the basically overlap. The supplier's outbound logistic is the firm's inbound logistic, or the distributor, right? This is the distributor, right? Channel, wholesaler, dealer, distributor, and this is the buyer. This is the customer. The distributor's inbound logistic is the firm's outbound logistic. Then the balance scorecard. It is a model integrating financial and non-financial measures. Basically, it is this is a means of assessment of strengths and weaknesses of the organization. The balance scorecard translates the vision and strategy of a business unit into objectives and measures in 4 distinct areas. The 4 distinct areas are financial perspective, then customer perspective, then internal business perspective, then innovation and learning perspective. Basically, customer perspective means how do customers see us. The balance scorecard identifies these 4 performance measures. Number 1 is the customer perspective, means how the customers are going to see the company. Internal business perspective means what must we excel at. Innovative and learning perspective means can we continue to improve and create value. And financial perspective means how do we look at the shareholders. These are 4 performance measures. You could see that these are 4 performance appraisals, and here you could see that linkage of BSc and strategy. You could see that strategic initiatives, these are leading to learning and growth drivers, these are outcomes. Internal process drivers, outcomes. Customer perspective drivers or outcomes, and it is generating the financial goals. Then other tools of organizational appraisal, quantitative analysis, as for example through ratio analysis you could know the health of the company. With other qualitative parameters like the morale of the employees, we can also, or the corporate image, we could evaluate the strength of the organizational appraisal. Historical analysis, here we are going to compare market share or profit quarter on quarter basis, right? Every company is going to post results on each and every quarter. You could compare the results and you could find the strengths of the company. Industry norms, here you are comparing the competitors or comparing your performance with the industry. Then benchmarking, here with the best practices, right? Coca-Cola benchmarking means here Coca-Cola, as for example, Coca-Cola is going to compare with itself with PepsiCo company. Key factor rating, answering the questions in each functional areas. And what is business intelligence system? It is also a very important tool used for the organizational appraisal. Basically here the company is using softwares and some IT tools, technologies to know their strengths and weaknesses. So all these are tools which are used for organizational appraisal to know their strengths and weaknesses. Here we are going to design the or preparing the organizational capability profile. It is ranked from weakness to the strength. These are some areas given here. It is in the financial capability profile, marketing capability profile, then operations, personal and general management capability profile. And these factors are ranked from -5 to 5, and then score is calculated, and then the organization can know their capability, in which area or in which functional area they are going to have a capability. Here is an example given of the SAP, that is strategic advantage profile. In strategic advantage profile, we are going to have these factors. These are called the capability factors: finance, marketing, operational. For bicycle, if we are going to as for example, in a company, if finance is not the strength, finance is the weakness of the company, then arrow is down. It, as for example, high cost of the capital, then it is the weakness of the company, it is down. And if suppose it is the strength, operation is the strength, then it is the upward arrow. And if it is neither a strength nor a weakness, then it is this one, horizontal arrow. So in this slide of SAP for bicycle company, we could easily assess that finance is the weakness, and operational, journal, and information, these functional area in general and information, these three areas, 1, 2, 3, these three functional areas are strength, and it is the weakness. And here we have the company, bicycle company, is having neither strength nor weakness, right? These are some references. You could go through a wonderful book written by Azhar Kazmi, Strategic Management and Business Policy. Then you could go for Fred R. David, Strategic Management Concepts and Cases. A wonderful book is written by P. Subbarao, Business Policy and Strategic Management. Thank you very much.